Africa is indeed rising. All around us, we see more and more images of hope, beauty, sunshine, and laughter, fueled by the spirit of entrepreneurship.
Basically, whether it's a matatu driver, whether it's somebody who's trying to build an extremely complex tech solution, as long as you have seen a problem somewhere and you're trying to provide a solution that you can monetize on, and you can find people willing to pay for it, I consider you an entrepreneur.
You know, it's one of those things with entrepreneurs, you figure out your culture and what you're good at further down the line. You know, when you start off a business, you want to do everything, you will accept anything and everything.
So they just need to do their research and see what they're actually going into. You don't just go into business because Tom is doing it well or Jane is doing it well, I will go into that business. No, it's got to be something that you love, something that you really want to go into, something that you're passionate about.
For me, being an entrepreneur is about being able to see a situation and you want to be able to solve it. Now, some people solve it by creating a business that actually meets that need. At the end of the day, you just need to ask yourself, what skill set do you as an individual have?
All innovators are known to be inquisitive. They're always asking why. And then innovators are also very observant. They tend to observe different trends and then change to accommodate the trends.
If the young people embrace entrepreneurship, start businesses and stop thinking about being employed, and when you get into that business, it will grow.
Mistakes will always happen, but it's better for them to happen now when you're still a small company, when you're losing, let's say, 5,000 shillings or you lost 10,000 Kenya shillings, and learn from these mistakes. Embrace failure, use it as an experience.
We're starting businesses that create value, that add value to society. The business that you're going in, does it make sense?
And I think, you know, we're really becoming more and more open to listening and learning. You have to be able to show people that this is our vision, this is where we want to go, and this is how you can be a part of this journey, and this is why being a part of this journey is important.
If you must compete with whoever is in the market giving the same products, then it has to be at least 20 times better than your competition. You have to look for business that is unique.
First and foremost, be customer-centric. Find out who is your customer. And when you take your customer as your king and you say customer is going to be prevailing, as long as you've got products that meet their needs, they're the ones who keep you in business. So keeping that in line is important for any entrepreneur, for any business person.
Many of us, as we succeed, we forget or we feel we have been so successful. We even use wrong words like, I have a business which runs itself. I can go for holiday. There's no business which runs by itself.
I find our young people today think they can come into a company and tomorrow they are driving a BMW. I always tell our young people, it doesn't happen overnight.
If you really want to create wealth or value, be innovative and creative, because markets have a tendency of rewarding uniqueness.
And so, as we gather here in Nairobi, Kenya's entrepreneurs are delighted to extend our country's fabled warmth and hospitality to the entrepreneurs of the world. Karibuni.
Na hata wenye magari ya kifahari, najua kwako Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jehiel Oliver, Josipa Majic, and Judith Morara. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Julie Gishuru.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm an entrepreneur and a TV host based at Citizen TV here in Kenya, and it's such a pleasure to welcome you all to the 6th Global Entrepreneurship Summit here in Nairobi, Kenya. Welcome. Now, it's a very chilly morning in Nairobi, but the energy in this room is absolutely amazing. And the GES is certainly planting a seed that will help nurture businesses, grow networks, increase collaboration and partnerships, and trade as well for sustainable growth. Now, the launch of many new initiatives will happen here, and an example of these, Mara Mentor, Start the Spark, and the Coca-Cola Yes initiative. These are just a few, and it is our hope that you will fully engage and leverage all the opportunities that are presented to you. Now, let's talk about Kenya for a moment. And there's been lots of talk about hotbeds. Have you been keeping up with the story? So let's talk about that for a moment. If Kenya is a hotbed, it is a hotbed of budding entrepreneurs. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a hotbed of positive zeal and energy. And it's, you see the bold pioneers, you see the innovators, from young Richard Turere, who was a 13-year-old Maasai boy who started innovating, to our business leaders who are transforming the continent. That is what Kenya is. You see it on our streets, in our cities, in our towns. You see it in the villages, in our offices, and our homes as well. And it's powered by incredible innovations like M-Pesa. That's what Kenya is. Kenya is, ladies and gentlemen, the ideal location for hosting the GES. As one of the most iconic entrepreneurs, Sir Richard Branson, would say, Kenya is mahali mzuri. And yes, and in Kiswahili that means a good place. So welcome, karibuni Kenya. Now, you have an enriching schedule here at the GES, but as the host nation, we do hope that you will get to experience our incredible country. The Nairobi National Park is just a few minutes away. To the west, you will find the shores of Lake Victoria, which are absolutely stunning. To the east, the incredible white beaches of our coastal strip. Some have been voted the best beaches in the world. Let's come in for a moment to the slopes of Mount Kenya, where you will marvel at the wildlife. It's absolutely incredible. Moving south slightly to the Masai Mara, which you all know. And there you find an incredible symbiosis between man and wildlife. And then move upwards to the often uncelebrated Jade Sea, Lake Turkana, which is the home of mankind. So enjoy this country that is Kenya. Now, our two co-hosts here today have had vastly different backgrounds, but they embody a spirit that I think many entrepreneurs in this room embody. It is also a spirit that I believe the Kenyan people embody, and many say the American people do. This is the spirit of strength, of determination, of resilience, of success against all odds. It's a spirit that embraces, dare we all say it, the audacity of hope. And so, let's take a moment to just recognize and thank the two hosts of this event, and also to celebrate the long-running positive relationship and ties between Kenya and the US. At this point, let's also note that we can learn a lot from our co-hosts here today. These two gentlemen have achieved success against all expectations and against incredible odds. They have vastly different backgrounds, but have trudged forward in the most difficult of circumstances, undaunted by naysayers, and they were smart enough to marry exemplary women as well. I want to ask you to prepare to help me warmly welcome. No, because we're in Africa, let's change that slightly. Let's give a rousing African welcome to our co-hosts here today. One is a son of the Kenyan soil, and as someone tweeted yesterday aptly, he first came here looking for his roots. Then he came as a senator. Now he comes as the first sitting president to visit the Republic of Kenya. And our other co-host is none other than the President of the Republic of Kenya. Let's give a warm welcome to President Barack Hussein Obama and President Uhuru Kenyatta.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Nairobi, welcome to Kenya. It's a delight to have you all here. President Barack Obama, distinguished entrepreneurs, ladies and gentlemen, let me take this opportunity once again to say that the people of the African continent and Kenya are truly proud to welcome all of you, the world's most diverse continent, and indeed the cradle of mankind. So to all of you, and on behalf of all Kenyans, let me say welcome home, or as we say, karibu nyumbani. Ladies and gentlemen, we have built mighty civilizations in Africa. But at the same time, we have also suffered great harm on account sometimes of natural disasters, and at others, due to man-made calamities. However, despite that, we still rise, fired by our spirit of resilience and our undying hope for a better tomorrow. You all know that for a decade now, the economies of Africa have been the fastest growing in the world. Behind these statistics is the story of a new generation of Africans committed to the African Renaissance. Our forefathers won the political freedom that we enjoy today. But on the social economic front, our continent continues to face major challenges. This is our moment to complete the task started by our fathers in pursuit of economic freedom. It is the time for a new generation of Africans to promote inclusive prosperity. In our pursuit of this prosperity, we have truly embraced the private sector. You, the entrepreneurs who are here in this room today, who have come from all corners of the globe, are our hope in this task. In this new paradigm, we cannot afford the luxury of the old language of East versus West. As for Kenya, we are aligned to neither. We are firmly and irreversibly aligned to progress. Africa's relationship with the rest of the world must be premised on mutual benefit, where our people and our resources are leveraged to secure the growth of our economies and prosperity for all. Ladies and gentlemen, as large parts of the world age, Africa grows younger by the day. The youthful sons and daughters of Africa are our incredible resource. They are reaching out for a new future in which their innovation and curiosity will transform the world. Kenya typifies this change. Kenyans are using their mobile phone airtime, and this inspired the development of M-Pesa, now the world's leading mobile money platform, and that has led to an increase in financial inclusivity in Kenya. The same ingenuity is also exemplified by Julius Yego, a young man who logged onto YouTube using an old mobile phone, learned how to throw the javelin, and this year he recorded the world's longest throw. M-Copper is a new Kenyan innovation and has brought the benefits of solar lighting to thousands of rural homes, enabling our children to study after school, relieving our mothers from the burden of fetching firewood and burning kerosene late into the night. These are just but a few examples that demonstrate the ability of this continent to transform challenges into opportunities. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, we are a resilient and brave people. You are all aware that nearly 2 years ago, the Westgate Mall in Nairobi was the scene of a heartbreaking act of criminal brutality. To the world, it became an emblem of extremist violence and terrorism. I am proud to inform you that a week ago, this mall reopened, and its flagship store proceeded to record more sales on the first day of opening than on any other day in the mall's history. We were able to rise above our pain, and we resolved that we must keep marching forward. We are truly a nation that shames its saboteurs and detractors. Mr. President, the democratic space in Kenya was secured by a transformation in governance. Our people aspired for a new constitutional dispensation, which my government has implemented in both letter and spirit. In just 2 years, we have fully devolved government and brought services closer to the people. From the big cities of Nairobi and Nairobi and Mombasa, to the promising towns of Isiolo and Machakos, the impact of devolution means that no part of our country is left behind, and that national prosperity will be shared in every corner of our land. Mr. President, distinguished entrepreneurs, Africa is the world's newest and most promising frontier of limitless opportunity. Gone are the days when the only lens to view our continent was one of despair and indignity. Mr. President, Mr. President, this country and this continent does not claim perfection, but without a doubt, we can claim progress. The key insight is to see that we are at the beginning of a great journey, and it is a journey that we invite all of you to join us. We see as clearly as anyone that true opportunity demands the respect for human dignity, fundamental rights, and the protection of democratic ideals. These shared values are the bridge between the peoples of our different continents, cultures, and creeds. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude by saying that aside from participating in this summit, I encourage all of you to go out and see for yourselves the enchanting beauty and promise of this country. You will without a doubt discover that Kenya is a hotbed of vibrant culture, spectacular natural beauty, a wonderful people with infinite possibility. Let the world hear a very simple message, that the narrative of African despair and indignity is false and indeed was never true. Mr. President, it is our hope that your presence here today, and indeed all of you gathered here, will help us change that narrative. When you go home, and indeed as you travel around the world, tell those who you meet about what you've seen here in Kenya. Share your experiences and let them know that Africa is open and ready for business. It is now my pleasure and indeed great honor to introduce my co-host, the leader of the United States of America, a great friend of this continent, President Barack Obama. Welcome, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please, everybody have a seat. Good morning. Hey, Jambo. Thank you so much, President Kenyatta, for your timely remarks, your warm welcome, and the great work that has gone into hosting this summit. It is wonderful to be back in Kenya. Niaje, Wasi. How are you? I'm proud to be the first U.S. president to visit Kenya. And obviously this is personal for me. There's a reason why my name is Barack Hussein Obama. My father came from these parts. I have family and relatives here. And in my visits over the years, walking the streets of Nairobi, I've come to know the warmth and the spirit of the Kenyan people. Now, what President Kenyatta and I really want to have is a conversation with our panel. And we've got some outstanding young people here today who I think represent the promise of entrepreneurship not only in Africa but around the world. But I do want to make just a few quick points. We are joined today by inspiring entrepreneurs from more than 120 countries, and many from across Africa. And all of you embody a spirit that we need to take on some of the biggest challenges that we face in the world. The spirit of entrepreneurship, the idea that there are no limits to to the human imagination, that ingenuity can overcome what is and create what needs to be. And everywhere I go across the United States and around the world, I hear from people, but especially young people, who are ready to start something of their own, to lift up people's lives and shape their own destinies. And that's entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship creates new jobs and new businesses, new ways to deliver basic services, new ways of seeing the world. It's the spark of prosperity. It helps citizens stand up for their rights and push back against corruption. Entrepreneurship offers a positive alternative to the ideologies of violence and division that can all too often fill the void when young people don't see a future for themselves. Entrepreneurship means ownership and self-determination, as opposed to simply being dependent on somebody else for your livelihood and your future. Entrepreneurship brings down barriers between communities and cultures and builds bridges that help us take on common challenges together. Because one thing that entrepreneurs understand is that you don't have to look a certain way or be of a certain faith or have a certain last name in order to have a good idea. Now, the challenge is, as so many of you know, it's very often hard to take those first steps. It's hard to access capital. It's hard sometimes to get the training and the skills to run a business as professionally as it needs to be in this competitive world. It's hard to tap into the networks and mentors that can mean the difference between a venture taking off and one that falls flat. And it's even harder for women and young people in communities that have often been marginalized and denied access to opportunities. You run into old attitudes that say some people, because of where you come from or what you look like, don't have what it takes to lead or create a business. And sometimes it's subtle. You go in to pitch an idea, and maybe the response you get might not be as enthusiastic as if someone else pitched the exact same idea. Sometimes women or folks from communities that historically have not been viewed as entrepreneurial may not have the means of opening those doors just to get in front of the right person. Of course, the best answer to that kind of thinking is the example that all of you are setting, your success. And that's why I've made encouraging this spirit of entrepreneurship a key part of America's engagement in the world. I launched the first of these summits in Washington 5 years ago. And since then, we've helped empower hundreds of thousands of entrepreneurs, giving them a boost to launch thousands of new businesses and initiatives. Here in Africa, our Young African Leaders Initiative is empowering tens of thousands of dynamic leaders, not only in business, but also in government and civil society. Because one of the things that we have come to understand, and this is particularly relevant to Africa, is that in order to create successful entrepreneurs, the government also has a role in creating the transparency and the rule of law and the ease of doing business and the anti-corruption agenda that creates a platform for people to succeed. So this is our first global entrepreneurship summit in sub-Saharan Africa. We wanted to come here. I wanted to be here because Africa is on the move. Africa is one of the fastest growing regions of the world. People are being lifted out of poverty, incomes are up, the middle class is growing, and young people like you are harnessing technology to change the way Africa is doing business, as President Kenyatta alluded to. And that creates incredible opportunities for Africans and for the world. It means more growth and trade that creates jobs in all our countries, It's good for all of us. This continent needs to be a future hub of global growth, not just African growth. And the country that's hosting us today is setting an important example. Kenya is leading the way. Today, Kenya is the largest economy in East Africa. High-speed broadband and mobile connectivity are on the rise, unleashing the entrepreneurial spirit of even more Kenyans. Every day around the world, millions of people send and save money with M-Pesa. And it's a great idea that started here in Kenya. From Zimbabwe to Bangladesh, citizens work to keep elections safe using crowdsourcing platform Ushahidi. And that's a great idea that started right here in Kenya. Here in Nairobi, startup incubators are nurturing new businesses every day, maybe some of yours, each with the potential to be the great next Kenyan innovation. And the good news is that I'm not the only one who sees the promise of Africa. I'm joined on this trip by some leaders, not just across my administration, but I'm also joined by 20 members of the United States Congress from both parties, because supporting a strong partnership with Africa is something that unites Americans. We've got some incredible entrepreneurs and business leaders who are well established from the United States who are with us. They see the promise as well, and they're putting their money where their mouth is. So today we're taking the next steps to partner with you. First, we're offering entrepreneurs more startup capital. At last year's Entrepreneurship Summit, we set a goal of generating $1 billion in new investment for emerging entrepreneurs around the world, with half the money going to support women and young people. A few months ago, I challenged governments, companies, organizations, and individuals to help us reach this target. Today, I am proud to announce that not only did we make our goal, we surpassed it. We secured more than $1 billion in new commitments from banks, foundations, philanthropists, all to support entrepreneurs like you. Second, we're connecting you with the world's top business leaders and innovators. We handpicked more than 200 seasoned investors and entrepreneurs and brought them to this summit. I even brought a few of my presidential ambassadors for entrepreneurship. These are some of America's leading innovators and entrepreneurs. So if you see them, don't be shy. Pin them down, get their advice, pitch them your idea. That's why they're here. And don't be discouraged if they say, I'm not sure that's going to work. And they ask you tough questions. Because one of the things every one of these successful entrepreneurs will tell you is that along with incredible successes, they've had some failures as well. And they've learned from them. But they haven't given up. Number three, as I've said, we're stepping it up to support women entrepreneurs. Women are powerhouse entrepreneurs. The research shows that when women entrepreneurs succeed, they drive economic growth and invest more back into their families and communities. We've already helped build a network of more than 1,600 women entrepreneurs across Africa. We're launching 3 women's entrepreneurial centers, one in Zambia, one opening later this year here in Nairobi. And I'm proud to announce that the 3rd center will be located in Mali. We've got some folks from Mali in the house. And as part of that $1 billion that I mentioned earlier, the United States Overseas Private Investment Corporation is contributing $100 million to support Goldman Sachs' 10,000 Women initiative, making more capital available to women-owned enterprises around the world. So, congratulations. So as you leave here today, I want you all to know that I believe in you. I believe that you have the drive and the passion to change the world. You can unlock new solutions to the pressing global challenges that we face. I believe that. I believe that as you make these innovations, you'll make life better for all of us. And I'm looking forward to being your partner in that process. So with that, what I think we need to do is to hear from some of these young entrepreneurs themselves. They can tell us a little bit of what they're doing, because I think they're great examples of all the talent that is here today. Thank you very much. Well spoken. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Now that we heard from the leaders of the free world, now let's hear from some entrepreneurs. Like presidents, entrepreneurs activate when they see massive problems. Sometimes these problems exist in their communities. Sometimes these problems exist at a country level, like presidents and affordable health care and transparent governance. Sometimes these problems are global issues like food and income security. My name is Jehiel Oliver. I'm the founder of Hello Tractor. We're an agricultural technology company. I'm from the US, but I live in Nigeria, in Abuja. Is Niger in the house? In Nigeria, you have about 28 million small farmers, mostly women, relying on hired labor that's expensive, that's inefficient, and is oftentimes unavailable. And what this means is crops are planted late, land is undercultivated, and these farm families lose income. Hello Tractor has come up with a solution to this problem. We developed technology that turns a tractor into a smart tractor. We then pair smart tractor owners with farmers in the market texting for tractor service. It's a local technology for the Nigerian marketplace. A farmer simply sends a text message into our cloud, and we pair that text with the nearest smart tractor owner. They arrive and provide a service that's 40 times faster than manual labor and 1/3 the cost. It is completely revolutionizing agriculture in Nigeria, soon sub-Saharan Africa, and ultimately the world. We want to export tractors to other markets outside of sub-Saharan Africa. Hello Tractor was driven by the need to fix the issue of global food and income security, and this is our solution to that problem. Thank you very much.
All right. Josipa.
Thank you, Jehiel. So I'm Josipa Majic, CEO and founder of ID Guardian, a consumer device and biometric company based out of wonderful Zagreb, Croatia. Thank you. Yeah, so 2.5 years ago, our journey started. I was 22, I was studying at the University of Zagreb, and unfortunately, I had a close family health situation. Now, that enabled me to really see how often in the healthcare system, we ignore the emotional component in the patient. This is not because of doctors, this is because the way processes and medical devices are designed. They're sterile and sometimes even hostile. Although the emotional component is highly correlated with the outcome of the treatment, no one really pays attention to it. In that moment, we decided to make Teddy the Guardian, the first smart teddy bear in the world. It seamlessly, during the play, captures the child's heart rate, oxygen level, and body temperature, and sends that to a mobile app. So completely stress-free in a soothing and calming way, you get all of the vitals under your fingertip if you're a parent or a pediatrician. Now, the main value of this is our biometrics platform. So a platform where we reveal insights based on biometric data and behavior patterns. This is being used by some of the biggest companies worldwide and biggest brands to improve their existing and create new products. So for example, if you go to any local store, buy a shampoo or a shower gel, it's currently being designed based on what you claim you like, but in the future it will be designed using our technology and based on what your body is really loving. So what we're trying to create, thank you. So what we're trying to create is really devices that know how people feel even when they don't have the capacity to articulate that. The people within our community who are suffering the most, we want to create devices and an environment that will be able to sense when these things are happening. All of this has enabled us to, one, Startup Open, organized by Global Entrepreneurship Week. We have 16 employees, offices in Palo Alto, London, and wonderful Zagreb, Croatia. And now with some of the most amazing engineers located there, we're really making the effort to bring all of these devices to the market and bring all of this technology worldwide. Thank you.
Thank you. Technology is one of the fastest growing sectors in Kenya, yet women are greatly underrepresented. My name is Judith Owigan, and I'm the co-founder of Akirachix, and I'm working to nurture generations of women who use technology to impact their communities and create solutions. 5 years ago, I and a group of friends started Akirachix, and it stemmed from the need that we saw that there were very few women in technology. So we wanted to create a community where women can come together, work on different solutions, and share knowledge. After some time, we noticed that there was a lot of knowledge we were sharing, and there were other people who could benefit. So we thought we should start a training program and target young women who would not ordinarily consider careers in technology and who would not have an opportunity to do so. So our training program targets young women from the slums of Nairobi or from informal settlements, and we take them through a one-year training program in technology and entrepreneurship, and then we help them get jobs or start their own businesses. When we train them in technology, we train them how to program both web and mobile applications and graphic design. One of the students who passed through our training programs is called Agnes Masia. She went through our training program for 1 year, and after that year, she's currently a technology researcher at a tech company, and she also started a shop where she has employed her older brother to work the shop using the entrepreneurship knowledge that we taught her. So she's one example. She's living the vision of Akirachix. She's using both technology and entrepreneurship to change her family and her community. So that is the vision that we live and we breathe. We want to change communities one woman at a time using technology.
That's fantastic stuff.
So we've had an opportunity to just hear a small sample of some of the amazing entrepreneurs that are part of this wonderful summit put together by President Kenyatta, President Obama. I would encourage you to please reach out and discuss with some of these entrepreneurs in the crowd and learn more about their powerful stories as well. On the stage, we have Kenya represented, we have Croatia represented, and we have myself coming from the US as an African American, also returning to my ancestral home to solve big problems. But thank you all for your time. Thank you all to the distinguished panelists. President Obama, President Kenyatta, thank you so much. Thank you.
Uhuru, any closing thoughts as you hear about these outstanding young people?
I think all I want to say is that what you've heard from the experiences of these three great people right here is their ability to turn challenges into opportunity. And this really is the future. And we as governments should really just focus to create an enabling environment that allows these great young people to flourish and really be able to help us resolve some of the perennial problems that we continually face. I was just telling President Obama about the problems we're having as a result of climate change in terms of, our agricultural output, our need to really focus, on irrigation. I mean, here's a great guy here telling us he can solve that problem for me, so I need to see you soon. So I think really it's just for us to really create the environment, the enabling environment, as President Obama said, deal with some of the bottlenecks, some of the governance issues, deal with some of the problems, the structural problems that deny our people the ability to take advantage of this great of the opportunities that actually exist. So mine is to say that you can count on our support. We are ready, we are willing, and we want to see what we can do to really help you move along and help us deal with the challenges that we are faced in this great continent.
Absolutely. That's well said. I think what's also interesting is, as you listen to these three, and I think that I'm sure this is true of many of the entrepreneurs here as well. One of the advantages of this technological revolution that we're going through is that it can be tailored and adapted to different countries, different environments, different circumstances. In some cases, enabling countries to leapfrog over old technologies, to individualize what's done for a particular market or a particular need. And the kind of thing that Jehiel is talking about, the share economy concept. We've got the founder of Airbnb out here, and you know, you can talk to him a little bit. He's doing pretty good. But there's a recognition that through these technological platforms, what might have previously required huge investments of capital and, as a consequence, big barriers to entry. Now, you can get a startup moving, and if it's the right idea, it can travel with the speed of, you know, how fast you can text. I can't text very fast, but I noticed Malia and Sasha, they can move. And so, you know, I think that this makes a place like Africa or Croatia or other countries that historically may not have been viewed as right at the center of the global economy, suddenly they can compete on a level playing field. And if you have a good idea in Zagreb or in Abuja or wherever, now you potentially have access to a global marketplace in the ways that you haven't had before. What President Kenyatta said is absolutely correct, though, and that is for us to take full advantage of this, we have to support programs like Judith's so that our young people are being trained in this technology, that there are no barriers for girls to be trained in this technology. If half of your team is not playing, you've got a problem. And in too many countries, half of the team, our women and girls, are not participating enough in this. So we've got to invest in human capital so that everyone has the opportunity to access this information. And there's got to be the framework for access to capital, reduced regulatory barriers, the ability to start up businesses effectively, making sure that governments are facilitating as opposed to being parasitic on entrepreneurial efforts. That's our job. And I think that the good news is that we're seeing that recognition in more and more governments around the world. Not all of them always are practicing what they preach, but it's a start when governments feel obliged through, for example, initiatives like the Open Government Partnership that we started through the United Nations, where they feel obliged to acknowledge that they've got to get these rule of law issues and accountability issues and human investment issues right, then that gives us a lever to start continually improving the environment for all of you and your operations. And last point I would make, and President Kenyatta alluded to this, I think it's very important for the business leaders who are here, the established business leaders, to understand that this is still a neglected market, and accessing capital for entrepreneurs here is still too hard. And we can help. U.S. government policy can help. But some of this is exposure and people having a vision of what's possible. When I was here in Nairobi 10 years ago, it looked very different than it does today. And the incredible progress that's been made, imagine what could happen if more and more of our global business leaders and global capital paid a visit and actually had a conversation, as opposed to just being blinded by some of the stereotypes that are so often promoted. This thing could move even faster. And that's part of the reason why this summit's so important. So I'm proud of all of you. I'm proud of these three entrepreneurs who are here. They represent all the talent that's in this room. Go out there and start something. We're excited about it. We expect great things out of you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jonathan Ortmans, President of the Global Entrepreneurship Network and co-chair of the Spark Coalition.
Jumbo! Well, this is a delightful start, as the President mentioned. The Spark Coalition is very proud to have generated $1 billion worldwide towards fulfilling this mission that has been talked about. And what I wanted to do is take a few minutes today to give you a little bit of a context as to why this is the right moment. And I want to begin by, first of all, acknowledging my co-chairs of Spark, the Entrepreneurs Organization and Tony Alamelu Foundation. Together, what we've recognized is that this is a critical moment in history for a new renaissance in terms of entrepreneurship. The organization that I run, the Global Entrepreneurship Network, or GEN, is contributing, this year will contribute $200 million towards that effort, operating in 160 countries. That comprises of work with angel investors, it comprises work with policymakers, with researchers, and perhaps most importantly, the work we do in celebrating Global Entrepreneurship Week in all 160 countries every November. But one of the most important things that we are also doing is learning that it needs to be indigenous and local driven. And so tomorrow we will be very, very proud to announce that here in Kenya we'll be opening Gen Kenya with a new governing board and advisors to be able to take things forward after the summit is done. And our work in Africa will extend well beyond Kenya. I'm very proud to also announce that this is a beginning of a conversation. We will host the Global Entrepreneurship Congress of all 150 countries in South Africa in 2017. And the purpose of doing that is to give the Global Entrepreneurship Network community and the Spark Coalition a goal here in Africa. Let's see what we can do in the next 18 months. We will work on female entrepreneurship programs, as announced yesterday. We will work diligently. For example, on Monday, the Lions Coalition will be launching a Weze camp in Rwanda. We will also work in helping to better understand the dynamics of what we need to do to create a more favorable environment for our entrepreneurs to flourish. And in November, we will release the Global Entrepreneurship Index of 130 countries, allowing policymakers to assess their performance in moving forward. And I'm pleased to give you a hint, for those of you from Kenya, that Kenya is #1 in the sub-Saharan African countries in terms of its investment in research and development and its tech hubs. We will also have the opportunity to continue with developing community accelerator programs throughout Africa and working very closely with some of our good friends, the Tony Elumelu Foundation, and also the individuals like Ben White from VC for Africa or the African Business Angels Network, and also the leaders who make up the global entrepreneurship ecosystems that already exist in this continent. But most importantly, what I wanted to do today was to briefly share with you what we're actually observing. And I think the reason we view this being a critical moment for a permanent big step forward in terms of the renaissance in entrepreneurship is that wherever I go in the world, I witness that our field has been transformed. It's no longer something of narrow commercial significance. It's something much more profound. What entrepreneurship is now is it represents the possibility of human endeavor for the benefit of all. And you might say, why is that different? What's different now is that the President of the United States is understanding clearly the importance that we need to have a separate, parallel agenda of policy steps to help our entrepreneurs flourish. The Startup America initiative, which was led by Steve Case and the Kauffman Foundation, together with the US government, has been emulated in startup nations around the world in 60 countries. This is a recognition by government that they have to be at the table. They're not at the table in the way that they're sitting at the top talking to the guys at the bottom. They're at the table as the feeders to the leaders. They're at the table feeding the entrepreneurs. What can we do in order to make it easier for them to thrive? And that's what's transformed, is that now we have everybody involved in this initiative from all walks of life. It's not business versus education versus government. It is now a collective, one global entrepreneurial ecosystem. So for example, whether you're Ewing Marion Kauffman, who was a poor farm boy who made good, who invested his wealth to help other people follow in his path, or whether you're Tony Elumelu, who made good, who I understand has just announced and begun the program of 1,000 entrepreneurs in Africa, funding them, training them, mentoring them, and helping them with the future. Congratulations, Tony. It's also not just the successful and the unsuccessful. Yes, we're very, very proud. It's people like Brian Chesky here today, who, as you know, is the founder of Airbnb, has revolutionized the way we think and the way we operate, is a classic example of how do we disrupt existing industries. It's, of course, about people that have been legends in this field. It's about Steve Case. It's about Richard Branson. But what we heard yesterday, which I thought was very interesting, Akon was here. Akon is somewhere here. If you don't know who Akon is, turn to your neighbor and ask who Akon is. You know, Akon said something really, really powerful to me yesterday, which I was so enamored by. And that was, he was upfront in public about the fact that he had a very rough start. And in his effort to get going, he went to jail. But when he was in jail, he recognized that one thing he wanted to do was to make it possible for other people to have something that was too much to lose. It was too much of a temptation. And so whether it's someone like Akon, who has gone on to of course, launched brands like Lady Gaga, has become a great success story for Africa and the United States, or whether it's a legendary president, or whether it's a very well-known CEO. We know that this takes all people to be at the table and making it possible. So whether or not we're under an acacia tree, or whether or not we're at Eric Hertzman's iHub here in Nairobi, or whether or not we're in the most awesome Techstars accelerator in Seattle, it doesn't really matter. It takes each and every one of us. But perhaps the most important thing that I think is transforming our field is the fact that all of those players, whether they be corporate, whether they be government, whether they be educators, are recognizing that they have to follow the entrepreneurs. And this, I think, is what's transforming the planet in terms of the ability of new firm formation to take root, and for us to stimulate a new generation, to change the landscape, to see a generation of people that are birthing the new, that are finding better ways of doing things. And of course, it's the entrepreneurs. These entrepreneurs have a different value system. These entrepreneurs are more generous. They're more global. They're, of course, dedicated and committed. But most importantly, as we should most certainly celebrate here in Africa, is that it's now a village. This is a village of people who want each other to succeed, who celebrate each other's success, and who now see that all boats rise on an incoming tide. And it's that new generation of not just young talent, we know that. It's that new generation of more generous values, which has now opened this up to people of all parts of our society. And so therefore, without further ado, I wanted to just conclude this morning with welcoming to the stage to hear from 3 young entrepreneurs who can give us an example of what this really means. We're first of all going to hear from an entrepreneur who is from Côte d'Ivoire, who has been a tireless startup tech promoter. And so I want you to please welcome JP Ehouman from TechMissus and AllDenY. How are you?
Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm JP Ehouman from Côte d'Ivoire. JP is for Jean-Patrick. And I'm co-founder and president at Akendewa, an organization where we're busy using technology to spark entrepreneurship and promote culture of peace in Africa. I want you to help me to do something. Every morning when I wake up on Twitter and Facebook, I just say, good morning, Africa. So I want you guys to say, good morning, and you, Africa. Okay, at 3, okay? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I want to tell you an African story. An African story that has been told from Côte d'Ivoire to Nigeria on the coast. All the villages know this story. It's the story of Kaku Ananze. Kaku Ananze is a spider, but he has a human face, very smart, always in the village trying to find innovative solutions for all the issues. Most of the time, people don't know that it's Kaku Ananze who solved the problem. Okay. As the story says, Kaku Ananze will keep going from village to villages to find more and more solutions for every kind of problem that will happen in his village, collaborating with other spiders, collaborating with other animals, and even with human beings. In 2007, I went back from France to visit my mom in Côte d'Ivoire. I've been working in France as a software architect for years. I haven't seen my mom for 7 years. Come on. One day I decided to pack my bag and say, I have to go to Côte d'Ivoire to see my mom. I arrived in Yopougon. Yopougon is an area in Abidjan where you can find like 2 million people. And I discovered that young people in Abidjan, in Yopougon, were using technology, but using technology for cyber criminality. You know this romance scam. You know, someone tried to make you feel like you're dating a girl, but it's a man. Okay. So as a software architect, I decided to come back in Côte d'Ivoire and try to find a solution for this problem. This is why in 2008, I decided to leave France, where I had a very good job, very good salary for a young African in Paris. I even didn't own a car. I used to rent them because I had money for that. And I decided to go back to Côte d'Ivoire, where I didn't have something to do as a job. I didn't know how to make money. But don't forget what Kakwana used to do, find innovative solution for any kind of problem. And then I put together a very interesting event. I told to 11 guys, young entrepreneurs, to help me set up such a task force. Then Akendewa, my organization, was born. We work on 12 projects, collaborating with local companies and organizations, and even with bigger ones like Google, BlackBerry. As 2010 elections in Côte d'Ivoire happened, we decided to get involved by providing a platform where people can report every kind of problem. This platform was used by medias, citizens. That was our way to get involved in our country issues. But unfortunately, after the election, we had 2 presidents. We were so lucky. 2 presidents, 2 governments, 2 armies. And in April 2011, a very big war started in Côte d'Ivoire. In less than 11 days, 3,000 people dead. And still now we're discovering more and more. I was in Paris at this time, and I wanted to get in touch with my mom and my sister back home in Côte d'Ivoire. And then I decided to set up a web platform that was using Skype, a call center in Ghana set by one of my members with 3 Nokia phones. So our setup is like, our call center is like, you know, Nokia phone, and you just call us on our Nokia phone. And then this platform allowed people to report cases. Like you can just text us and say, oh, I have 2 persons here in my area who have been, we received bullets. They are still alive. What can I do? We're lucky enough to collaborate with University of Columbia in the US, who provide us 15 experts for this kind of situation. And then, what's happened? We saved 82 lives. Come on, using technology to save lives without being on the, in the country That was the best thing I did in my life. Are there people from Côte d'Ivoire here? Okay, so, but the best of the best was 2 babies that came from this platform, because we have a volunteer from Poland who used Skype for 8 hours and supported moms in Côte d'Ivoire to help them give birth. I think that this guy, I don't know him, I never met him, but I think that we have to applaud for him. For all this, I received in 2013 the first prize of UNESCO for Youth Entrepreneurship and Culture of Peace. I used this money to set up the Tech Hub that is holding now 10 startups. From this story, you can see that Akendewa, from a simple initiative from a diaspora guy from Côte d'Ivoire, succeeded in empowering entrepreneurship in this part of Africa. I want you to tweet, to post on Facebook that young Africans are not the problem. Young Africans are the solution. So every time that you have the opportunity, like the Tony Lumelu Entrepreneurship Program, to help them, please give them some help. Thank you, and I hope that my English was good.
GP, good.
Thank you so much.
Next from Nigeria is Shadi Sabeh with Brilliant Footsteps Academy.
My mother, my daughter, peace, and making money. It might be like crazy. What is this young man saying? I grew up with my mother, who was a single mother, and I watched her through a lot of trials. She struggled to raise us up, 4 children. And every step of the way, she said, we should always remember education is key, education is the power, and education is the tool you need to be anything you want to be in life. So I grew up emphasizing on education as a weapon to survive. I, at my teenage age, had a desire to always turn the little I had into so much. And at a point in time, you know, when landlords came knocking and saying, Madame, where's the rent? And we had to say she's not at home. If she's listening, I'm very sorry to say this. I always felt I wanted to make sure that one day I'll put a smile on her face. And I struggled so much. I got to the university, I read economics, master's level, banking and finance, master's level, PhD, and I got out of school. And in Sokoto, Nigeria, where I'm from, I realized that I needed to look for what I love doing, and my passion was teaching, and I needed to make money, and I also needed to impact on my community. So I thought of Brilliant Footsteps Academy. I thought of an idea to make money, impact on my community, and do what I loved doing, impacting knowledge and teaching. So I went around and I realized that our people had 2 drives in life. Up north in Nigeria, the schooling system is such that we have the formal education and the Islamic education. But I realized that there were issues in the way the Islamic education was moving, and if we were to continue in that way, we may have people that will grow up and may not know what violence is not supposed to be. So I conceived of an idea to integrate both formal and Islamic education together such that I would have an educational facility in Brilliant Footsteps Academy where it would be a one-stop shop where parents could bring their children and have a formal education for them, and also contribute by making them have that Islamic education because of the pains of shuttling from schools in the morning, dropping your children, in the evening take them to the Islamic schools and so on. And we tried to see how we could have children who in the future would be ambassadors of peace, would be people that would not be prone to violence, and people that we could control through an Islamic knowledge that emphasizes on peace, non-violence, and a far away attitude to extremism. Because even if we roll out the guns today, even if we have military prowess, even if we do everything to battle extremism, we may win the war now. But in 30 years to come, things may still come up if we don't work on the ideology of our people. So at Brilliant Footsteps Academy, we conceived this idea to see how we could promote futuristic peace such that recruits for extremist ideas would not come up. And we started in 2012 with about 23 teachers and 68 pupils. Today we have 105 staff, 500 students, and we pay over $12,000 a month. Out of our teachers, 45% of them are women, and I am making money to take care of my mother. I'm giving my daughter a good education, and I have money to put food on the table, and a landlord doesn't have to knock my door to make my daughter ask, "Daddy, what is happening?" I am also activating my passion to teach, and I am contributing to community, maybe not now, but in the future, by appealing, winning the hearts and the interest of our people by appealing to their minds. Entrepreneurship is key. Entrepreneurship is unifying. 1,200 of us in this hall. For one thing, we want to make money, but we should make that money by creating a social impact. Entrepreneurship cuts through religious divides, cuts through ethnic sentiments, and most of all, it binds us together. I remember receiving a phone call, and I'll end with this, in December 2012, and they said it was from the Tony Olumelu Foundation, and that I was to be awarded for the best graduating economics students, and I was given about $500,000 from Mr. Olumelu. And since then, I've been part of the network. In May 11, I was at the White House to attend the Emerging Global Entrepreneur Summit, and today I'm in Kenya, and this is what I used to tell my children, that you could grow up, my children in my school, that you could grow up to be good human beings, and Islam is all about contributing to society and not extremism. And you could be a medical doctor, you could be an engineer, and you could stand for what you want without losing a tap on who you are as a Muslim. At Brilliant Footsteps Academy, we teach today for peace tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum.
It's wonderful. I think, as Undersecretary Stengel said yesterday in the Youth and Women event, we rarely now come across entrepreneurs who are not motivated and driven by that innate ability and passion and wish to want to not just do well, but to do good at the same time. So it's a question of being socially motivated. And it doesn't mean to say we have to be frightened of the marketplace. I think for me, that's what's changed. When I was first involved in my first startups at 19, we had to make a decision as kids at college at that point. You either decided I'm going to join the Peace Corps and do something valuable with my life, or I need to make a living, I'll go work for that corporation. And that choice has been taken away. Now you can, of course, do good and do well at the same time, and I hope you'll agree with me that we just heard an example of that. So finally, we're going to hear, most importantly, from a female entrepreneur, but most importantly, a female entrepreneur from Kenya. And so I'd like to ask you to give me a very Kenyan warm welcome and a very global warm welcome to our final speaker this morning, Hilda Morara. Welcome.
I'm completely humbled and honored to be part of this event today that marks the climax of all the entrepreneurship events we've had this week. Enabling entrepreneurs and continuing to believe in them to change the economic and the entrepreneurship and innovation world of tomorrow. It's been a long time coming. This is a dream come true, not just for me, but I believe for every entrepreneur sitting here today. They have been waiting for this moment. And I am very happy to be part of this event that marks a remarkable session to celebrate not only just our success, but our failures, and as well as the lessons we have learned throughout this journey. Today, I want to tell you the Weze Tele story, which is a story of belief. Weze Tele, a Swahili word that means people who are capable of doing a lot and providing value to the masses of people, focused on providing value-add solutions to not only just small and medium-sized businesses, but to the consumers, and empowering them to grow and scale to the next generations of tomorrow. Weze Tele was co-founded by nothing else but just belief. When we started, we were so young and naive. And you all know that the people who start these businesses are crazy and naive. And I have been part of that journey. My parents, my siblings, and my close friends thought I was crazy. I had lost it. I decided to sacrifice jobs and opportunities that came my way. I had opportunities to work for Google and to go and study in Oxford, but I chose not to, for the sake of pursuing my entrepreneurship dream, to solve problems for my country, and to be the ambassador of the change that I want to see tomorrow. So this is the first time I'm actually telling my parents that I actually dropped out from my master's class. So I hope Mom and Dad, you forgive me, because I know you're watching. I have been waiting for this moment, and I know it's a dream come true. An immense responsibility to continue to inspire other young people to believe in themselves, because the future is in the young people. We need to believe in the young people. And so today, as I stand here, I want to say that Weze Tele, which is a startup that focused on providing value-added services and solutions to the micro-distribution level, was not going to be successful if we did not have the power of belief. This is an incredible time for us young people. We need to believe in ourselves and take the opportunities as they come and not shy away. And I promise you that you're gonna do it, because this is our time to shine. Since college, I have been turning opportunities and solving the real problems in the economy today. And it was at Weze Tele that I got the real chance to execute and to be part of talented individuals who believe in themselves and to build the best platforms that are not only going to change Africa, but the global economy. I promise you, if it was not because of that talented, young, hungry individuals that were part of us, then Weze Tele will not have existed. It was because of the same belief that we got local investors to invest in our business, to the likes of Joe Musheru, who is a leader in Google. He put in money when we had not even registered the business. I remember when he walked to us in IHUB and he said, "I want to invest." And I asked him why. He said, "You are confident and I believe in you." It's the power of belief. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you that that belief has not only just transitioned and make our vision to be big, but has helped us to not care about the mistakes and the failures we made throughout this journey, because we believed. Successful people who have been in this journey, and we've heard of them. Diamond is here with us. Barbara, who turned a $1,000 business to be a multi-billion-dollar business after forsaking 22 jobs from a homemaker mom and being part of this journey. And we cannot forget to celebrate the story of a young man who grew up in Hawaii and settled down in Chicago and believed in change and was part of this dream. And because he convinced himself, he changed America because he was tired of seeing the frustrations in the legislature. And so I'm here today to tell you that Obama, Mr. President, I am thankful that you have brought the belief back home. We faced so many challenges in our startup journey. In the 3 years of learning Weze Tele, it was tough. We almost gave up, and we realized that we actually were doing the wrong thing. But more importantly, we decided to believe in ourselves and encourage each other. One time we thought we were going to be the next Google. The next time we thought we were very hopeless people. One time we thought of ourselves of building islands and changing the world. But the next time, I picked up the phone and told my parents that it was true that I had a lot of failures coming my way and I needed to get a real job. These were the moments that continued to inspire me to continue with this journey of entrepreneurship. Cash flow issues that continue to deoxygenate our business. Retaining talent was a big issue we faced. Getting the right resources to grow the business was not only just a challenge, but a nightmare of it all. But I stand here today with confidence to tell you that we overcame those challenges and pains. We felt them, we embraced them, and they became part of us. And because we were young people encouraging each other and believing in ourselves, then we continued to do what we did because we believed in the power that we had set in front of us to solve problems and provide a real solution. These moments were the toughest of them all. But we overcame those challenges, as I said. We got the right people and the right partners to invest in us. We got the right mentorship and support to help us to take the business in the right direction. And most importantly, we used the little resources we had to take the business to the next level. Most important, this was the toughest time of my leadership skills as a leader. I possibly gave up more times than my co-founders and my team. But they uplifted my belief because we were together in this as a team. I learned to trust other people because it was by that, and during the times that my leadership skills had faded away, that I believed that I was going to then lead to the journey of success. You think believing in yourself is hard? Then please try believing in other people. It's even harder, I promise you. Especially in the moments when we were attached to our ideas, we did not let go. Even when our first product really failed crazily in the market. My order, and I believe everyone here knows about it in Kenya, it failed. We did not do a lot of research. We were very young and naive people in this journey. We put all our investment in it, but we failed. We failed terribly. And at the moment we accepted the product had failed, That is the time that everything started working right. A startup journey is not easy, I promise you. And every young person sitting here today, I want to tell you that you have to believe in yourself. The belief did magic to our business, and it's because I'm standing here today to tell you that we have learned a lot from that belief. The growth stage was the toughest of them all. One time we thought we were gonna make it, but we didn't. But thanks to the people who believed in us. And that is because I'm standing here today because we have achieved a great milestone, which is the acquisition that we got just recently by AFB, a microfinance company that believed in us and saw the talent in us. And together, we have continued to strengthen that relationship to build the global solutions of the world tomorrow. I have learned to be a better leader of today. And I know for sure that the startups and the young people sitting in this room today, they are looking up to you to help them, to support them and mentor them to reach their success. Success is not instantaneous, it's a process. We had to allow failure to be part of that equation. We basically put persistence as our key driver. We had values and integrity to drive us. We believed in ourselves and remained committed. And that's how we achieved success. It's not a quick fix. It is gonna take time. And as I close my remarks, I wanna challenge every person in this conference and auditorium to start believing and investing in the young people. There is hope. There's a young person sitting there having concurrent knockouts, hoping that their startup is gonna pay off one day. We face that in Weze Tele. And more importantly, it's not an exciting journey. It's a lonely journey, I promise you. You're gonna lose your social life. You're going to be there breathing day and night about your startup. But it's about the power of belief. You have to start listening to that inner voice inside you that tells you you're gonna make it, you're gonna do it. Listen to that voice. And please allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to borrow a quote from His Excellency, Mr. President Barack Obama. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we have been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. And so, ladies and gentlemen, today I want to challenge you to play an active role in not only just saying that we need to change the ecosystem, but let's invest and believe in the young people, because that's the future of tomorrow. That's the generations that we are going to change, not only just for us now, but for our future children. And I want you to be part of this journey with me. It was not easy building Weze Tele, but we believed that we were going to make it in the end. And I want to challenge everyone here tonight, today morning, to believe in the young people, to invest in them, and more importantly, to support them and mentor them, because the future is in the young people, to impact and change the economies to come, create jobs, and continue to change the state of poverty, and more importantly, to empower not only just men and the young women in the generations to come. And I am proud to say today that I am willing to be part of that journey, with the rewards that have come with our acquisition with AFB, to invest in other young people. And to be part of that change that we want to see, because the future is in there. We need to get more young people to believe in other young people, and that's the way it's going to be, and that's the way it's going to work. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I want to close by saying, I want you to join me in this journey. Support me and help me, because I believe I am the voice of the young people. And I believe that the reason I am standing here today is because I have not only just experience in working with young people, but I understand their problems and their needs. And I have been part of this ecosystem, and I have had failures and successes, which I have documented in my book that I have authored, in a Kenyan startup journey of all the things we have learned. But more importantly, I want you to be part of helping me to bring this positive change. I want your support and help, because the future is going to be in the young people like us. Because together we can go far. I know we can do it. So help me and be part of this. Thank you very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you. Well, Hilda, I think we do believe you, and I think if your parents are upset about you dropping out of college, I think we can send them to all the audience here. I want to, as we wrap up this morning, pay special tribute to the leaders in the United States government, and I think most importantly for me, to our hosts, not just President Kenyatta, but all of the Kenyan leadership assembled here today. We, I know, are having a tremendous time. And we want to thank you very much indeed for all of the work and the effort and the hospitality. And I know that we'll all work hard to see that we're still here when this conference is over and part of the journey here in Kenya forward. And I think Hilda represents the kind of passion that I think will follow here in Kenya. So as we wrap up this morning, I want to again emphasize to you that what you'll see these two governments have put together is not a conference full of ministers up on the stage giving speech after speech. This is an opportunity for you to connect with each other, to see each other. We're going to be moving forward shortly for 2 hours of networking and eating. And resting. You will be encouraged to go to the Innovation Marketplace. And I hope that as you find each other, whether you're using the app or you're using the Innovation Marketplace, you'll get to really see that what we think is getting sparked today is a new generation, yes, as Hilda says, but I think it's about this notion of prosperity for all. And that we hope that you will see that as our work works in building ecosystems, that we're working together to find better ways to help each other. And so, without further ado, I'd like to thank you all for this morning, thank all of our entrepreneurs, and to pose the challenge that you should join Start the Spark, be part of this going forward globally, consider yourself to be part of one global entrepreneurial ecosystem, finding better ways of doing things, and helping us to look after our fellow citizens in a way that we haven't done in the past. So without further ado, there'll be a 2-hour break, and the sessions will continue at 2 o'clock. Thank you very much indeed.